Deciding on a math program can be very overwhelming. So much research trying to figure out what is going to be the best fit for you and your child, but not really being sure if it's actually going to click with them, and what clicks for one child might not click for the other child. And then once you've started a program, you worry about gaps if you switch and wonder if you should or just to stick it out. There's so many factors that going into choosing a math curriculum. What's a homeschool parent to do? I'm Maryellen, and my oldest child has dyslexia. And you may think that dyslexia is a reading and a language struggle. Well, it also affects memorization, multi-step processing, and comprehending and understanding what a story is asking for. These are all things that can also be found in math. So if you want the full story and what interventions we use for my son, check out the description with the link for that video. They'll be coming out next week. But right now, we're going to focus on tools and the curriculum that we've used and we're going to use this year. So when I first started out with math, I used Charlotte Mason Elementary Arithmetic series. And I used that from book 1 to halfway through book 4. And it comes in a nice hardback novel size book with ribbons for bookmarks. And it's basically a guide for the parents. It gives instructions what to do and has math problems. There's no student workbook. What I like about it is I like that it emphasized mental math. I like that they use 10 bundles to explain carrying and borrowing. I thought it was very visually easy to see. I liked the graph paper notebooks because it helped with place value alignment. And my son liked that there was minimal writing because that's a struggle for him. But looking back, I feel like there probably wasn't enough writing to help with the automaticity that comes with math, especially learning your math facts. So we did end up switching curriculums, and I did see some gaps that I had to fill in when we did switch curriculums. Now, remember, he does have dyslexia. So if you have a kid that does not have learning struggles, then they might learn their math facts with this program and they might enjoy it. Some other things that we really enjoyed is we liked all of the inexpensive manipulatives that it suggested, and you can buy a kit if you don't want the hassle of finding manipulatives for your lessons. Also, briefly, we tried The Good and the Beautiful. I really wanted to love this program because their products are beautifully illustrated, and I've had tons of friends that use this curriculum and they love it. And just honestly, I haven't understood why they love it so much. So while it's beautiful, I find it visually overstimulating. Now, I do have ADHD, but if you're watching this, your kid likely has some type of neurodivergence also, and so it's something to be aware of. I also don't like how it seems to jump around a lot. I like to deep dive into one thing and master a specific skill, but I felt like it gave a lot of little bits and I felt like it was very surface. Again, I only tried the second grade curriculum for just a little bit. I did not try it for very long. But people that like variety and like the spiral approach, this might be a good fit for them. Another curriculum that we tried briefly for about 3/4 of the year was CTC Math. And what I liked about it was it was online, so I knew my kid would like having a screen. It also had videos and it checked the work for him, and I could create the lesson plans and control what my kid was getting, even though that did put more prep work on my end. It even had online manipulatives. The lessons were still too long for my son, and eventually he would just start wandering into other things online. But I do think it could work for other people that do have the discipline to do the work online and not go stray somewhere else. And it definitely could be helpful for people that don't have a lot of struggles and they can just go through the curriculum. Also, I really liked that they give you a guarantee. If you do not like it, you can email them and they will give you a prorated amount for the amount of time that you've used the curriculum, and they'll give you that remaining amount back. And so I was able to get a portion refunded to me when I switched curriculums again. Something definitely to check out if you want to go the online route. Next is Math UC. My oldest son uses Math UC, and he used the AIM curriculum for addition and subtraction, which is the remediation for math facts. And then we continued on with the series starting at beta. And so we've done beta, delta, and we're a good part through gamma as well. I like how it's not very teacher heavy. And with my son with dyslexia, dyslexia, I have to do a lot of one-on-one teaching with him. So I like that this takes off some of the load for me. For each new lesson, you have a short video. We watch that together, and then we do a couple of problems on the worksheet. And once I see that he's understanding the concept and I've answered any questions he has, he does independent work. And we set a timer and he works until that time is up. And the next day, we already watched the video, so we might just do some of the word problems that it has on one of the worksheets and do that together. And then he moves on and does some more independent work. And then if he's still not quite getting it, I'll add in another day because there's plenty of practice sheets. But if I feel like he's gotten it, then I move on to the enrichment worksheet. Those can vary, and they're more kind of applied math or some logic. Gives a little something extra to it that he really enjoys. Okay, so here's the Math You See Delta Manual, and this has the information for each lesson. To be honest, I barely open the manuals because I think the videos do a good job explaining what is next. So I just use the videos because it takes some of the load off of me, and my son likes them. And then I rip out the pages for the worksheets and I make a binder. And so what I do is I just put the whole lesson in a protective sheet. And then the next lesson would be lesson 2, a different protective sheet. So it's just really easy to grab and go. It also comes with a test booklet. I don't do all the tests because I feel like he's already doing the review, but eventually it has tests that incorporate review for multiple lessons. And I do those tests to keep track to make sure he's still keeping up with the material as we move on. And if he has issues on those tests, then I do go back to that lesson that information was on, and he does do another worksheet on that until he feels confident with it. So let me show you what the enrichment page might look like. So for this one, it's coloring, and on this side, you're filling out the grid. In lesson 2, it gives you division. They can mark off their facts as they learn them. And then also has another coloring sheet. My son really likes these coloring sheets. But then in lesson 7, it gives you a project where you make a parallelogram into a rectangle so they can see why you can do the same mathematical equation for area for both of them. So as you can see, the enrichment pages make it fun. And then also Math You See has a great manipulative kit that you can buy. For some of the books, there's some add-ons that can help with the supplementation of your lessons. So what I like about Math You See is it's less teacher heavy, but it also is very structured and incremental. It does one small skill and you practice that skill, and then they just go one step further in the next week or so, learning another skill and building on that. And studies show that kids with dyslexia or other learning differences do really well with structured and explicit direction. And as you move on to each book, the review has the orders of operation you've already done previously. So if you're at multiplication, you're still practicing addition and subtraction plus your multiplication. So you're still practicing those skills. So this is a good fit for people that need structured, explicit instruction, for teachers that would like a little bit of a break from the math heaviness or don't feel confident teaching math themselves. And also it has a mastery approach plus a spiral review, which I feel is the best for retaining information. But I do want to add that even with how much I love this program, when I get to math facts, I still have to do a remediation program to really focus on the math facts and then return back to this, and then we can go at a quicker pace. So for my new coming 3rd grader this year, he'll be starting at where he left off in the 3rd grade Math with Confidence book, and we'll be doing the flashcard review as a warm-up in the beginning. The reason I have my kids in 2 different curriculums, one, Math with Confidence was not available when my oldest started. She just finished her whole series, which ends with grade 6. So that's one reason. But another reason, I feel like this is a really good foundation. I really like that she uses color, the graphics, but I also feel like it's organized and not visually overstimulating. I like that she is also structured and uses manipulatives, inexpensive manipulatives too, as she goes through the program, and then she does spiral approach for her review as well. My son that does not have learning struggles was able to go through 1st grade and know his addition and subtraction facts. I have not had to do remediation type stuff for him for math facts, so I think that's also saying a lot. My son also really likes that there's games in it, and I usually have them them do games towards the end of the week and have my older son, who struggles more, and my younger son do the games together, so it's good review for both of them and they both enjoy it. May not be a good fit for parents that feel like they want a more robust math curriculum. Now, I think that this is a good foundation math, but I see a lot of people looking to supplement and add to it. I'm not sure if it's because they think it should be harder, and because she lays it out so well, it's not as hard, but there are also kids that do have a hard time. I feel like it'll meet the needs of a lot of different kids. So let me show you this curriculum. This is a second grade book for Math with Confidence. My son completed it in second grade. I like that it has book recommendations and enrichment activities. We don't do a lot of the enrichment activities, to be honest, but it does have a book suggestion, and I was able to find all our book selections on YouTube, and my son just watches it while he's eating because it was hard for me to find those book selections at my local library. She has information explaining how and why to do what she's teaching for the topic. She has a warm-up, she has an activity, and then usually she has worksheets and games involved. So if you want to go at a faster pace, which my son Austin did, we would combine some warm-ups because he didn't need as much practice in it. But if your kid does need more practice, that practice is definitely in there. She does use a lot of 10 frames, your visualization of tens. My mind doesn't really work like that because I can't see pictures. So for me, that's a little harder. But I do think for my son, he's able to do mental math. So I do think her techniques help with mental math, even if it doesn't quite work for me. But I was also taught very much algorithm. She teaches the conceptual math first, then the algorithm. I do see some parents that get frustrated with that sometimes, especially if their kids are having a hard time because they just want to get to the algorithm. But when you're just doing the algorithm, you might not be understanding why it's being done that way. And I think the conceptual math helps fill those gaps and can make you a better mathematical thinker in general. For first grade, I just had the workbook, but then I started buying all the PDFs so I could use them with multiple kids since I liked the program. And so I do a binder for him as well. I print off anything that I want to print off, like she has a memory work list. So I make sure that by the end of that grade that we've gone through it and my son has gotten all those skills. The number line, she has some master things in the back that you can use for a reference. And then this is like the example of one of the games. See, it's colorful but simple. That gives opportunities to practice. And so I did the same thing. I have each week's lesson all in one page protector, and then I just copy the whole thing. The activities change, and so it's not the same thing all the time. So with Math You See, you kind of have the same rhythm all the time, but with Math with Confidence, you do break it up. There is more variety, and so that can be good for neurodivergent kids, especially ADHDers that like the variety. So you gotta have to see what works better for your family. I do think this curriculum is more teacher heavy though. You're doing a lot of it with them before they get to the worksheets, especially kindergarten through second grade. I'm noticing in third grade, there's more independent work, which I'm liking for that, because when you have multiple kids, that can be a drawback when you're having to spend so much time teaching every single kid. Like I have 3 kids now that I'll be teaching and eventually 4 kids. So that can be a lot if it doesn't gradually go into more independence for the older kids. But I also think math is one of those times where you got to put in the effort as a teacher, especially in the beginning, to get those foundational skills to help them become more independent in the future. So you kind of have to weigh that for your family. Okay, so something else that we're doing for math this year, we're going to be alternating our Fridays. One Friday, we're going to be doing Beast Academy puzzles. My kids really like these puzzles. What I did was I took all the pages out. They're terrible pages. They're terrible, like in I can tear them out of the book, not terrible like awful. And they have different types of puzzles. I bought 1 through 4, so I'm still in the first book. I think this is 3 through 4, but it gives you an idea. It gives you different ones. It also has strategies and solutions. So if your kid is stumped, you can help them through the strategy of figuring out that puzzle. But then if they can do it on their own, they don't need those sections. Kids really like them, and they just do a page or a few, depending on how much the work is on the page. And then that's their math for that Friday, to give them a little break and some variety. While my son struggles with the dyslexia stuff, he has very good visual spatial reasoning and logic, and so those puzzles really appeal to him. My second grader, because he's more academic minded and sometimes the logic stuff can be tricky for him, so it's good for him to expand his skill set too. And then on the alternating Fridays, I'm going to be doing paper Sloyd. Paper Sloyd is where you have a project for something you're going to make with paper. So it teaches precision and actually using a ruler in real life to figure out how to make this object that it's instructing you to make. So don't be afraid to do more real world hands-on experience for math as well, especially as a supplement. And another tool that I want to show you that I really like and have had for over 4 to 5 years, and they're still like really sturdy, are the Think Tank Scholar flashcards. And so this is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. As you can see, they have different patterns, so it's easy to find which box you need that day. Let me take out addition. These cards are sturdy. They're rounded, so they're not sharp. You have the question on one side, and then you have the answer with something visual at the bottom to see that problem. Plus, they're color coded. This one's pink, so you can find your family if you need to sort through it quickly. It also has these tabs for helping you track and stay organized. Mastered, don't know yet, and sort of know. And I use these a lot for practice and for fluency with my math facts. And then I also developed a tracker that helps me track what we've gone over to further stay organized, which you'll see more of in my other video. But also, each one comes with a small card that's a math fact chart for reference. And it also has some teaching methods and some games. If you're running out of ideas, this could be a good tool. And it also comes with some dice to help you with the games. And then an honorable mention for my kindergartner. She will be doing Math with Confidence, kindergarten. The kindergarten book has a lot of writing the numbers, but I think she's going to enjoy it with having the games. So if you've got a closet, a shelf, maybe even a whole shed of curriculums for just in case, you are not alone. I've been there, but here's what I've actually learned after going through a lot of these curriculums with my own kids. Even though it feels like it, the goal is never to find the perfect curriculum. You're probably chasing a unicorn if that's what you're looking for. It's finding what actually works for the kid in front of you right now in this season with the skills that they have, even if that means switching more than you plan to or needing to back up more than feels comfortable. That's truly not failure. It's just homeschooling and a great opportunity for you to meet your child where they are at. More homeschooling content coming your way, and I'm Maryellen, and this is Growing Together Neurodiversity at Home. See you in the next one.